originally you did a mix of some of mine, and we wanted to do more because we enjoyed working together. So we did the Fireman under that name. Didn't tell anyone it was us. Then we did the next one, which was called Rushes In, and Rushes or whatever it was called, Rushes, wasn't it? Yeah. And had fun on that. And so then we just decided to get together. But this board, the only reason is because I like working with him. You know, just every so often we kind of get a feeling to do something, you know. And I think we met up at a party recently, and I said, hey, do you fancy doing a bit of Fireman, you know? So that's how it happened. It was just, you know, quite a sort of random thing. You know, all we kind of needed was like a direction, just a thought that interested us both and excited us both. Yeah. And it was like, okay, let's go. And then you just go and you travel on that vibe, you know, you just follow that trail.
Our intentions were very, you know, sea shanties folk. And then we went in, and I think that day we ended up doing something quite dirty blues, which started off quite folky. Yeah. And within an hour had gone dirty blues.
And we sometimes would just listen to something or get a little bit of poetry or just talk about something we'd seen. You know, it would take us off in a direction. I mean, I remember we played an old blues record on one of the tracks, and it was like, oh yeah, let's go there. Yeah. And so then we just make our own thing up.
And before we started, Paul had sent me a CD of old sea shanties, and we were and I was talking about doing some English folk, traditional folk, sort of sourced stuff, and you know, we'd throw ideas like, let's get a lyric that's got sailors and street names and something else in it, and throw that down, and we'd you know, really throw it up in the air. And
so you start off with all that. You start going, hey, across the sea, you're going to hear this kind of vibe. And then you start thinking, well, because I'm a writer anyway, and youth producer, writer anyway, an artist, you start, instead of just letting it go to ad-lib, you start pulling a little bit of sense into it or making something of it, putting a bit of form on it. Yeah. And I think that's a kind of great thing to do, you know you've got no time, you're just going to bang this thing down. So your first thought is your best thought. And just roll it out. And then he would choose what he thought were the best bits. And that's how we work. I know to let him choose. I trust him.
Yeah.
Something like that. I think the thing is, you know, great thing about Fireman is it's to do with us having fun. That's kind of the only given when we come into this. We know we just want to vibe and have fun.
We really wanted it to be not too over-considered and over-thought out and just be fun. So yeah, I think a lot of albums in the 60s were made like that. You do 3-hour sessions and things like that and get an enormous amount achieved.
2 songs, 3-hour sessions we used to do.
Exactly. So, you know, having weeks and months to spend on one track is kind of very counterproductive sometimes. So it was an exercise again into just being spontaneous and free with it. And sometimes we did a couple of tracks a day on this album, you know. And, you know,
if someone used the word fresh about the sound of it, I think that's a nice thing because we did it in that kind of way. I think you do get a freshness because there's no time to consider it too much, you know.
It became exciting in the sense that it's so immediate and so unconsidered, but also you kind of trust in the process enough for it to, it's like a sculptor revealing something out of a big block, you know, and you pull it out and then there's something quite emotional in there, you know. Just turned out that way. We definitely had done the modal jam on one chord for a few minutes on the previous two. And I think we really just wanted to see how far we could push the spontaneous live creative thing going.
What we did, we grabbed some poetry books and just looked at a little vibe or maybe a sentence and just chose a word out of it, and then looked at another page, chose another word, started slotting words together that I liked. You know, there'd be silent and then lovers from another thing. So we got silent lovers. So you start going, silent lover, don't stop running.
Like the beat poets.
Angel loving. Yeah, like Burroughs, who used to do cut-ups and stick all the words together. But the nice thing is, no matter what you say, you always bring yourself to it. You can't help it. You know, I always say, like, Dickens would be writing about a female character. So it's a woman, but it's still Dickens. You know, he's still coming through the character. I remember just making up each little thing, not meaning anything. But as I say, when you put it together and it's you, inevitably you are saying something. But it's not intentional at all, you know.
You know, great songs do have an ambiguity that allow the listener to relate to it in their own personal way, and if other people are having their own ideas about what it means, that's a good song, I think. But the intention was very random, but the thing is, whatever you do creatively, your emotional self will come through, and you know, you may not be aware of it. It may be subliminal, but you have to have a confidence to do that, you know, because it's a fearless exercise. You're really being navigated by random elements.
I mean, it's, you know, it could turn into a ritual humiliation because you are opening yourself that wide, you know. I'm going up to the mic and I'm thinking, I have no idea what I'm doing. It's like trying to make a movie with no script. So it becomes like an improvisational theatre workshop.
Method.
You know, it's like Mike Lee.
Yeah.
You're just getting up there and you're going, right, my name is Derek. Yeah. Derek says, come to my party Thursday night, all welcome, bring 2 bottles. You know, you just start jiving off, you don't know where it's coming from. And then suddenly in the middle of it, you go, 2 bottles, that's a good idea. And you start pulling that, lose the rest of it. And then you work off that.